everybody, Coulter Brown here from the Northern Ag Network with this month's update on our livestock markets. High prices and high temperatures, that seems to be the story right now. We're certainly excited about what we're seeing with the calf market and the direction it seems to be headed, and it looks like feed costs may be coming down. Hopefully you're surviving the heat of the summer okay, getting the hay put up before the grasshoppers take their cut, and finding a way to deal with all the flies that we seem to have this summer. A lot to cover in today's report. We're going to look at the USDA cattle inventory and cattle on feed reports and talk about when we might switch into an expansion phase. We'll take a look at how feed costs are shaping up and of course look at the futures, fed cattle, the way up market that stays strong, and a lot to cover on the video sales from July as well. Now, if you're like us watching these video sales this summer, check out the Ag Risk Advisors podcast that discusses livestock risk protection and video sales strategies. You can see the link there or go to At the Table with Ag Risk Advisors wherever you get your podcasts. Well, we're going to start out as we normally do with the cattle futures. They are trending up, but seeing quite a bit of week-to-week volatility. Feeder cattle futures hit contract highs in mid-July, but then ran into pressure as corn prices seemed to jump up about 60 cents in 2 weeks. So that pulled the feeders lower, but month over month, they're still talking gains of $3 to $4. We've got January feeders way up at $248.27, so a lot of optimism there. In the live cattle, they kind of had a contra-seasonal rally going. Typically, we see them lower in the dog days of summer, but live cattle made new highs of their own as well. Seemed to get pulled down by the pressure in the feeder market, but still we saw some big gains on that August contract this month. And again, looking out to 2024, April live cattle over 190. Now, box beef has been trending lower this summer. We saw it kind of peak there in May, highest level it'd been since the fall of 2021, but has trended lower, seems to be staying above the $3 mark at least for now. You know, that is a historically strong price, and it may not be the worst thing ever to have a little bit cheaper wholesale beef price. We don't want to price ourselves out of the consumer checkbook here as they're dealing with inflationary costs. The cash-fed cattle market has been a source of support for the cattle futures. Of course, at the start of July with the big 4th of July holiday, packers back off the kill schedule, and we actually saw the cash price moving lower as packers were not participating in that market, but then they ended up short bought and feed yards used the leverage to push the market higher. Right now, we've got live cash cattle averaging about 186 and dressed up to 295. Now, as we look at these feed costs, cost of gain was looking a little bit better there as we actually saw some new crop corn under $5, but then hot and dry conditions in the corn belt seemed to increase that price. And then we saw this whole situation in Ukraine with Russia ending the Black Sea grain deal and then attacking Ukraine's export infrastructure. So we're not sure how much grain is going to get out of there, but it did increase the feed prices, the corn costs that we're seeing there, kind of throwing a wrench into the gear of feed yards. Now, on the other side of the feed equation, we've got hay prices, and that market always hard and long to establish itself and can be super localized. But generally, we're seeing increased hay production this year. USDA said 30 to 40% higher yields. A lot of ranchers producing enough hay, they may not have to buy any this year. So if we talk lower hay supplies and lower cattle numbers, that is weighing on the hay price. USDA talked about a lot of hay producers holding the asking price at $200 a ton, although some rained on alfalfa ranging from $120 to $185. So that hay price does seem to be moving lower. Now, of course, we have to talk about these video sales. 4 major sales in the month of July, and boy, you can see the effect that these cyclically tighter cattle supplies are having on the market. Feed yards really willing to pay more, and of course, a lot of cattle will head to grass as well. On the yearlings, that's where we're going to start, $50 to $70 a hundredweight over the sales a year ago. We saw the cattle country video sale very strong there with 8-weight yearling steers selling $240 to $249, 9-weights $236 to $245. In the Western video market sale, 9 to 9.5 weight steers $235 to $249, 10 weights $244 to $249. Now looking to the calf market, you compare to the same sales a year ago, we're 30 to 40% higher. That's $70 to $90 a hundredweight above the sales a year ago. At Superior Livestock's Week in the Rockies in 2022, we saw 5-weight steers average $225. This year at $303, so some substantial increases. You know, we're still seeing a premium on the program cattle, the value-added steers, about $10 to $15, but does seem to be inconsistent at times. In the Superior Week in the Rockies sale, upper 4-weight steers sold $326 to $357 to a top of $370 on some Gap 4 steers, light 5 weights $306 to $320. Northern Livestock Video started their sale the same day that corn jumped up 30 cents, but it didn't seem to eat into the price at all as buyers can see how tight these supplies are getting. Mid to upper 5-weight steers 282 to 295 and 6 to 6.5 weights 278 to 289. Noticeably less heifers in the sales this year. It could be that some ranchers are already starting to expand, or they may just have enough feed that they're going to background some heifers and then sell them into the winter. But we did see most of the 5-weight heifers selling in the 257 to 274 money, replacements 270 to 290. The weigh-up market has been exceptionally strong, up $30 since the start of the year. We're actually expecting to see beef cow slaughter stay low through Labor Day, and then we probably will see that increase. Price may not back off much just with these lower cow numbers and strong lean 90s trim demand, so we could see these cow prices staying strong. Across a lot of the region right now, the weigh-up cows primarily selling 106 to 120, bulls from 120 to 145, even saw some bulls up into the 160s. That's dollaring up to $4,000 a head. Now, as we talk about the direction this cow and calf and all the markets may be going here, we want to look at the USDA cattle inventory report. We weren't really sure what was going to be in that report. Of course, a lot of areas are seeing improved moisture conditions this year. And of course, these calf prices are telling us to expand, but we just weren't sure what that report was going to say if we were entering the expansion phase, but USDA says not yet. Beef cow numbers down to 29.4 million head. That's 2.6% lower from last year. The 5th straight year of reduced numbers. Were down 3 million head over that 5-year time frame. Replacement heifer numbers down 2.4% rather, and cattle on feed report showing an increase in the percentage of heifers on feed. That tells us we're not expanding yet. Just over 4 million replacement heifers is actually the lowest that's been in 50 years. Now, the sharp increase in calf prices, the better moisture conditions, hopefully lower feed costs, that's telling the industry to expand, but you can see how the drought conditions compare year over year there. Last year, 59% of the cow herd was in a tough drought situation. This year, that's down to 37%. So improved, but still a lot of drought out there that could cause more cow herd liquidation. So hopefully we'll see these feed prices come down, calf prices continue to hold strong, and then how aggressive this expansion is over the next year, it's hard to say right now. We're definitely going to be watching processing capacity and beef demand. Those will be keys to keeping the prices elevated. And once we do enter that real expansion phase, widespread heifer retention does actually pull beef production lower as we keep those heifers into the cow herd. So that'll push prices higher, at least in the short run. So there are a lot of things to watch right now, but we're optimistic about the future, and looks like, at least for the next 12 to 24 months, cow-calf producers are going to be the ones holding the cards. Thanks so much for joining us for this report. I'm Coulter Brown, Northern Ag Network.